Welcome to Why Should I Invest? Developed by the International Collegiate Angels Network, or ICAN. At ICAN, we believe that campus-born ventures are today's most underappreciated asset class. Each podcast will spotlight a campus-born founder and the venture they're building. I'm going to ask the tough questions that investors would want to ask. So this is Why Should I Invest? I'm Dr. Tom Duening. Today I'm joined by Julian Bühlmaier with a company called Linity, and he's from Karlsruhe, Germany. Linity is building a data pipeline for large language model training in STEM through a student learning ecosystem. It's a brilliant idea. He's got a great website that you can learn all about Linity. It's www.linity.one, O-N-E, 1. And so I welcome to the show, Julian. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your company.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Julian, born and raised in Germany. I studied first after graduation in high school. I studied tax law and business law. I worked for the tax authorities in Germany. Then studied management and Asian studies with a focus on the Asian area. During my studies, I met my co-founder. He's the brother of my best friend. And we start building stuff together. So the first one was a tax bot lawyer for like searching for similar cases for tax consultancies, because this was my background. Then we pivoted to a general tax bot for consultancies. But then we figured out that most of the consultancies and also the law firms, they don't want to let us keep the data for making a product out of it. So we could have made a consulting-based business out of it, but we really want to work on a product-based business. So the moment we decided to not follow this idea anymore, my co-founder Johannes, he brought up his purpose of revolutionizing the way students learn, the way we perceive education. And he was already working on this, on his algorithms, which powers our LMS. And he was working on them for years. He taught over 200 university students in math topics and saw people really falling off the grid because they have unmet learning needs. This is also what catched me in that case, because I was one of these students. I faced the problem in studies. I am a visual learner. I'm learning by practical examples. I'm learning by use cases. For me, it was not able to get anything out of a lecture where the professor's just standing in front of me and just reading out the script. So
I was one of those. I was one of those, by the way. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and then I said, okay, let's do it. This is something I really want to work on. And so we started after my graduation. Then in the last year, February, I started full time. He also started full time. We were working on it, like iterating a lot, talking with the users, going to universities. Figuring out what the market or what the users, our customers really want or what's important to them. And then in September, we started building the prototype. And since then, we have like 1 or 2 weeks iteration cycles where we go to universities, interview the students, show them the progress, and then iterate on the feedback.
Right. And it's a little bit complex, and I've been studying your model. So let's try to tease this out and fully understand all the different nuances of your business model, because it really is brilliant. I think what you guys are building here has got a lot of different applications. So, but let's start with that university. So you go to a university. How is it that you are actually able to engage students? You hang around in a cafeteria or set up a booth? I mean, how do students get to know that you have this opportunity for them to get on your learning platform?
So at the moment, we are testing with a test user base of 200 people. In the beginning, basically my job was just walking to the universities, talking with everybody I find, and ask like, most of them, they don't want to talk to me because in the beginning I was not able to show anything. It was just an idea, explaining to them and try to convince them that this is a super cool idea.
Right.
Then as far as we developed the prototype, I was able to show them. I basically met all the users we have, or I met them in person. I talked to over 1,000 students in the STEM fields, and just hearing what they face as challenges in their studies and what's the most frustrating things they have to accommodate with.
Yeah, well, I think it's great that you're actually getting out there and talking to the users, because that's the hard part for all entrepreneurs is just to get out there and just to intercept people and start talking to them and ask them what do you think of this? And you also have creators on your platform. How are you how are you aggregating and bringing creators to your platform?
Like the creators on our platform, it was like I was also reaching out when I'm at the universities. I'm not only talking to the students there. I also go to the faculties. I go to the student councils, and also try to convince them to collaborate. And they are always interested people. And so we find some tutors who are already creating learning content for their peers, but they have sometimes they have very hard times distributing it to everyone because it's still in paper or it's still in old file format. And this is the approach of getting the creators on board.
Right. So you have the creators, they're building these learning tools that are available on your platform, and they're available for free to the students. Isn't that right? Yes,
that's right. So our purpose was to change something in education and we found a model where we are able to provide students with free study support, also of the newest models of AI, that students can leverage this for their studies and have a value out of it.
Right. And so, of course, then an investor would want to know, well, if you're giving away free stuff, how is it that you make money? And here's the brilliant part about your model that I think is just really something. And that is that you are gathering the data from the interaction of the student with the content to generate data sets for large language models for technical companies. Is that correct? Am I getting this correct?
That is correct, right? So basically, students can create automatically learning content, and they can share it with their friends, so they have a value for themselves. And we save and collect all the data with the human interaction with the AI. It's like a pre-evaluated data set for LLM training in higher STEM topics.
Right. And so where then do you monetize this company? What part of the overall value stream are you monetizing?
We are monetizing on the data. In our opinion, the most valuable thing is the data, and it's just getting even more important. So we see, when we provide study support for free, the probability that we collect valuable data, which can be used somewhere else, is very high. So our focus is on selling the structured data sets for LLM training on the one hand to the companies who provide the large language models, but also companies who are fine-tuning these in different topics when it comes to the STEM area.
Yes. And I think it's great. So tell us, do you have any traction in the market for the data sets?
We are in contact with companies who are fine-tuning models. We are currently waiting for their reply on what their expectation is on how much this is worth per data set. So we are in contact with them. We describe our data, and Yeah, it's but an estimation was like 4 or 5 cents per data set. So yes.
Okay. Okay. Great. And so, are you scaling your number of users? Do you see that increasing over the next 6 months to a year?
Yes. So our approach at the moment is we are in a closed beta. So we just test with the 200 users at the moment
Okay.
because we
Okay.
say we don't want to have it so crowded in the beginning, because for the start of the next semester in October, like start of Q4, we will launch the full version. So there is like the focus then switches, of course, to user scaling. But at the moment, the focus is on product development,
Okay.
especially on refining the UX UI.
Okay. So you're coming out of beta sometime in the fall.
Yes.
Okay. Great. And so tell us a little bit about. You mentioned before that you have a co-founder. Tell us about your team. I mean, is it just the two of you? Do you have others on your team?
Yes. I already okay. I will make a quick wrap up. My co-founder Johannes, he studied mathematics at KIT. There he also taught students tutoring. He worked as a full stack developer at SAP and Barco. Um, Yes, and then we have one full-time developer sitting in India. We know him
Okay.
personally, so
Okay.
there's a personal connection. We have
Yep.
two more part-time developers also in India. And then the former boss of my co-founder Johannes, Hendrik, he also joined because he was in the early retirement program of SAP, and then he was also convinced by what we're doing, and he wants to join and also work with us because it's an amazing thing to work on.
It is. It's an amazing product, and your website looks fantastic. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about your product and the development roadmap and the progress that you're making?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we currently focus on a very, very good UX UI. This is, in our opinions, this was the most crucial part when it comes to B2C platforms, because it has to be usable. It has to be, it has to feel nice while using it. Because when you want to learn with a tool, it should not be distracting. That's why you cannot monetize on ads when it comes to learning platforms. So, the product roadmap at the moment is influenced by UX UI refinements. We are developing the core features that we can launch in Q4. So basically, the roadmap is fully packed with 1 week sprints, where we set the timeline to until the end of the Q3, and we can launch the full version in Q4 to the start of the new semester, that we got rid of all the bugs we discovered, because it's also very important to test the product before you throw it on the market.
Oh yeah.
So this is our product roadmap at the moment.
Right.
We completely focusing on satisfying our users.
Wonderful. And I suppose that involves some sleepless nights, right?
Yes.
And I'm looking at my notes here. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but you're raising around, it looks to me like it's around $1 million. Is that correct?
It's around $1 million. It's we're looking for 800,000 investments.
Okay.
For the next 21 months.
And how would what would you use the funds for?
The funds would be mainly used to complete the product development and launch the version 1.0 in October. But also scaling the data capture pipelines, being able to scale the user base, that we get to the level where we can really provide structured data sets in a higher amount. Yes, and then prepare preparation of the seed funding in Q1 2027.
This sounds like a tremendous feedback loop between human users and the AI tools and improving the reasoning models and everything as a result of actual real world application and real world usage.
Yeah, that is, we see just a spinning effect there, where we say, okay, we need education to be changed. I mean, the last 300 years, education basically didn't change, like university education. A professor standing in front of the class and most of the time he's reading his script. So this hasn't changed like in 300 years. But so many industries got disrupted by technology and stuff. And we think now in times of AI, there's so many opportunities. So we said, okay, we want to provide something free, something valuable, which is actually free, while simultaneously, improving the hallucination rate of large language model in these areas as well. So
that's great.
Also fine-tuning our own model, that our own model gets better in answers.
It's
precisely
funny
in STEM topics.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the STEM field is perfect for this. It's funny that you mentioned that higher education hasn't changed in 300 years. I often used to tell my students that the only difference between now and 300 years ago was that we use whiteboards instead of blackboards, right? That's the only change.
Yeah. So sometimes some PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, PowerPoints. Yeah. So I always wrap up my show by asking the fundamental question: why should I invest?
I would say this answer is pretty simple. Like I already mentioned, AI has to change education. And we say, okay, we build a system where everything leverages everything. It's a win-win-win for everyone participating on that platform. So for the LLM providers and fine-tuners of large language models, they get structured data sets out of it. The students, they get free study support. They get the opportunity to structure their whole learning content, learn together with their peers, share content, make group playlists. So there's many interactive opportunities for them as well. And on the third hand, we said, okay, when they graduate, we have the data about them, which jobs are fitting to them. So this is also a possible revenue stream in the future, where we say, okay, leveraging or using these data about the users, the skill profile, basically. Yeah, I would say it's a big market with a big opportunity, and I think it's just the right time to invest in education.
Well, that's very well said, Julian. It's been a delight having you again. The website is linity.one, and so it's a great website, and your contact information is available on the website. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Julian Bühlmaier from Linity. Thank you so much.
Thanks you for having me, Tom.
For more information about how you can get involved in the ICAN mission, please contact me directly via email at tomdenning@icanhub.net.